Hi, Robin. Okay, we might get started. Okay, welcome to Inspired Art Journaling this afternoon. Thank you for understanding about my reasons for wanting to change the time, but of course you can always rewatch the replay afterwards, so you can watch it anytime you like. So, bit of a plan today, so that's all the details there that for contacting me, finding where the Facebook page is. So we might move in and start doing it. I just opted to select a funky fossil today as my focus for the web page, the journal page, and so I've got a few bits and pieces from Funky Fossil. I love Funky Fossil. It's a UK company. As far as I am aware, it's only distributed in Australia through Natalie May Scrapbooking. That's my understanding, but I'm not sure. My apologies if there are other stores out there, but I get mine from Natalie May Scrapbooking, and they've got some beautiful designs, and the magical Claire Stead, she does a lot of collections with them as well, so that's kind of how I got onto her. And yeah, so they've got all these beautiful stamps, stencils, and these beautiful papers. So I've selected one of the papers from this particular book. It's got some beautiful pages in it, and it's actually using the stamps and stencils from the actual ranges. I have worked with these before. I've done a page with that one before, and so I thought, feeling in a little bit of a Moroni kind of mood today, I thought I would use this page here. But you get quite a few, 36 pages, 12 designs, so that means you get 3 copies of each design. It's 160 GSM, so that's a reasonable thickness. It's not necessarily good for as a backing, but it's great for collage paper, which is what I'm going to be using it for today. Got a little bit of a plan going on with this, but that may sort of change. Even from the picture that I took this morning, I changed the stencil. Even 5 minutes before I got on here, I decided I would do something else as well as another option. So I kept changing. So these things are always fluid, and they just keep developing as you go along. So I've got a basic idea of what I'm doing. But anyway, let's get cracking on this. And yeah, so these are kind of some of the products that I'm using. You can see here there's a stamp on the side here. Well, this is the actual the stamp itself. So I've used that stamp. That's one that's imprinted on there. I've got this stamp as well. I've actually stamped it onto this card and put some embossing powder over it. And so I'm going to use that as a bit of a focus. I'm also going to make some collage paper using this stamp. So that's the first thing we'll do. And then we'll start putting the page together. Okay, so what I've got here is some deli paper. Now this is deli paper from America. Oops, I might just turn that over, put the shiny side down. Yeah, this is American deli paper. It's only available through, again, Nat. She buys it in from, she has a friend in America that she gets it from, so we're very lucky. Our papers here are not the same. So our greaseproof paper, that kind of thing, it's just not the same. So if you want to use this sort of stuff, you need to get it from Natalie May, and it's really quite economical. I can't remember now. It's only like $2 for 20 pages or something like that, and that's only half a sheet, so it's a bit bigger than a A4. Alright, so what I'm going to do is make some collage paper using this stamp. And so I will get my stamp pad out here. And please excuse the condition of my stamping plate here. A bit overused. Now I'm not too worried about if it's not perfect and that kind of thing. I'm hoping my stamp pad's nice and juicy. So I'm not worried about if it doesn't stamp out properly because it's going to be torn up and used as... oh, I'll just take that back out. I just realised that I'm not on screen. Move that all over there a bit. Sorry about that. Okay, so have a look at that. Yeah, that's not too bad. Could be better, but that's all right. So I just put a little bit of tape down because some of these stamps, particularly this brand, they're very, very sticky when you first get them, which is great, but sometimes it lifts the paper up as you're stamping. But I do like the quality of these stamps as well, and let's get... It looks like it might be just you and me today, Robin. That's all right. A lot of people are working, I understand that. Okay, and I'll do the, oh dear, I keep ripping it. I'll do the middle as well, and I'm not worrying about if it goes over. It is just to put a print down onto the deli paper so that we can add that to our page. Oh, hi Tamara. Well done. Scrapbooking and watching. Good girl. Well done. Make good use of your time while you're watching me. All right. So we've got 3 images there. That'll do nicely for... Oh, look, I can't help myself. I'm going to... It'll dirty up my thing, but you can see that it's not. Just go to... Can't help myself. Anyway, yeah, stop. Okay, that'll clean up. I just need to get my stamp cleaner onto that and clean that up. Just been too lazy to do it. Alright, so I'll take that off. I'll leave it on there in case I use it later. Put that away. So we've got our collage tissue paper or deli paper. And we've got this. Now, I'm going to be working in my Dylusions 20 by 20, 20 by 20 centimetre diary. And I've already pre-gessoed. I always like to do a bit of a pre-gesso. I know that we will be covering up the page with, collage papers and that kind of thing. But I do think it's a good habit to get into myself. That's me personally. It's come from painting canvases and that I always pre-gesso. Even if I buy a canvas that has gesso on it, I always do an extra coat of gesso. Oh, good. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Robin, for letting me know that. Sometimes it's hard to sort of keep an eye on what's going on there. And please forgive me if I don't answer your questions. I'll try and keep an eye on it, and I will answer them after if for some reason I've missed what you've said there. All right, so pre-gessoed, all set, ready to go. Now, I am going to work over the 2 pages, so obviously that's the same size as that. So what I'm intending to do is put half of it here and half of it on there, and then using this as well as paint. So I'm just going to just rip that in half there. I probably shouldn't have, anyway, it doesn't matter. Now this is a good weight of paper. It's good for actually for collaging, so that you can rip it up and you know, utilize it on your page. So I'm just going to just rip it down, like I've saw when I showed you the paper, that I've got 3 sheets of this. So you know, if I want to get another one, I can just grab another sheet out of the book, because I think I actually want a piece going across, so I will need to take probably one from the other side. I'm just ripping off the edges there a little bit. Probably should do it. Just remember, when you're ripping these, if you don't want to see the white part, you've just got to be careful about which way you hold the page. So if I hold it like that, that part's not being, the white is not showing. Sometimes it just means you've got to turn your paper around if you don't want that. Look, I'm just ripping off the tops and bottoms because I just want to have it all not straight. It also helps with the actual gluing on, adhering the mixed media onto your page as well. So I don't know, I'll rip that one in half as well. So we'll just do a couple of, I might put him in the middle so that he supports the, excuse me, I feel like my throat's about to, I haven't even started and my throat's tickling already. So I'll put that there to help support the middle of the journal book, because I do get a bit stressed after a while. Look, I'll just rip that off there too. No real plan as such, so let's just grab our matte medium, and I shall grab I like to use my catalyst tool for this, because I can control the amount of matte medium. Now I would normally, I'll put that up that way. Normally I would have this sitting over towards the edge, but I think I'm going to deliberately put it in there a little bit, because I'll use my other collage paper as my border part there. I think it's important when you're doing these sorts of pages to make sure that your papers, your collage papers, whatever you're putting on, be it stamps, stencils or paper, that it is touching the edges, so that it just helps to anchor your page, your elements to the page as well, and it's good for the eye, because otherwise it just doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing if we don't do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, because this is a fairly thick piece of card, I've just folded it down the middle so that I can put that right in the spine there, using my tool, and then I'm just going to lift up my book so that it fits in there nicely. Not too much of a gap in that spine. And I scrape off any excess and use it on the other. So hope the weather's kind to everyone around the place. We've got a coolish day today, although I'm warm in here at the moment, but I think it's a little bit cooler here than it has been. That on the edge there. So can you sort of see? Just helps to embed everything onto the page. Oh, straight edge. I don't like straight edges. I'm going to put that there. Ordinarily, I wouldn't like to put that there because it looks like it's just sitting there floating in space. But with my collage paper and paint and all that kind of thing, it will blend in nicely. So I think I'm kind of happy with that. Not too many bubbles. All right, so I'll just leave that there. I'm going to grab my tissue paper. And again, this one's, it's got some nice edges on it, so I'm just going to sort of fill in the gaps. And whatever gap, I'm going to put some paint on here as well, so that's okay. It will all anchor everything. And I want to make sure that I do go over the paper, the coloured paper, so that it doesn't look like it's just floating in space and that it's meant to be there. Is there anyone else creating, or is it just Tamara that's doing some extra work? I know some of you poor things are at work, and that's important as well. But sometimes some of you are lucky that you can actually watch while you're doing your work. And I suppose we still have a lot of people working from home these days. I think that's probably about the only good thing about COVID. It's allowed people to be more flexible about their working environment, which is a good thing. So I like the fact that printing the stamping hasn't come out perfectly, because it just gives it that organic sort of feel. Put some down here. I'm not covering the whole thing because I want some paint to be a bit of a focus as well. So there'll be paint going over bits and pieces of this, as well as the spare paper paint, better pull that off. I just don't like straight lines. The reason too is because it actually adheres better with your matte medium if you have a torn edge. With a cut edge has a line to it, and it doesn't blend in as well. You can definitely tell the difference. What have we got here? Actually, I might put that. I'll put some of it. This has got the straight edge on the side, so I'm going to put some of that here, and I'll just make sure that that straight edge is off the page, and rip that off, and we'll just embed that. Actually, I might put it closer to this because we haven't got anything overlapping there, and I like to overlap as much as possible. Oops, I'll probably put that on back the front too. All good. Hi Karen, how are you? Welcome. And yeah, so the beauty about this, you know that you can watch it again and again, or at night whenever it suits you. And it feels odd doing these during the day, but anyway, that's good. All right, so I'm just going to put my heat gun on, and just to dry this off a bit, so excuse me for the noise. Okay, and that's the beauty of using a catalyst tool too. It doesn't take long to dry because you haven't got excess medium on there. Okay, I hope everything's okay there, Karen. So X-ray, so I hope everything's okay there, darling. All right, now I would like to do some, wasn't quite sure what else to put on this. I've decided to use a dot stencil, mostly because, here we go. So here's the paper before it was ripped up. So you can see there's a few circle bits on there. So I thought I'll incorporate this one because it's smaller. So they're around about the same size. This is the Natalie May stencil. It's not the Funky Fossil one. So I'm going to use some of that. And I might use a very light touch of, when I can find it, of modelling paste. Just to give it a little bit of texture before I put some paint on. And I'm just putting it in little spots. I'm not going over the whole thing. Can you see here? I'll just shift this over a bit. Again, I always start my stencils off the edge, okay, because we want that organic sort of look. And I'm very lightly just wiping through, making sure I touch the collage papers that I have there. I don't even mind if the circles aren't fully covered with the medium, the moulding paste. And I'm going to keep the stencil, even though you could probably do it that way. I will just keep it going the same way. I don't want to cover up all of the collage paper, but I do want to connect the collage paper with the all of the collage paper that has been adhered. I want to connect it all, and I'm doing that through adding some textured paste, some textured surface. And okay. And at home, you could do this quite thickly. I'm doing it thinly because of time constraints and things like that. Sometimes I like a very, very thick impression with my modelling paste, but it's better for the lives if I only just do it a little bit. Still get the same effect, but I just like that really textured surface. Holding it down. Because I'm doing this in this organic style, for want of a better word, it doesn't matter. I'm not worrying about if it seeps or anything like that. Okay. A little bit more, and I'm not covering much up. I want to leave some of the paper coming through. I'm using the Liquitex flexible moulding paste too, so that just makes it, it's just the one I've got here. I've had it for a long, long time. So, you know, there's lots of nice texture pastes. I think Nat's got a few different ones on her website that are just equally as good as well. This is just one I've had for a while. Oops. A little bit yucky there, but that's okay. So I'm just wiping that brush off. I haven't put any more. I'm just wiping off what's there so it gets a bit of a mark. I'm going to leave it like that. I'll show you in a sec what I've got there. I'm just going to put this into the stencil into water, so just bear with me. Because I don't want it clogging up with the texture paste. So you need to put that in water straight away, and I can wash that off later. So just got to keep remembering to lift up my bits here. I just want to clean off anything that's on the edge there. That's all good. I can cut all those extra bits off. So I'm just going to dry that off for a moment. So talk amongst yourselves for a little bit while I put this machine on. Okay, Karen just asked about the paper, so I'll just hold it up while I'm drying off, Karen, so you can sort of see. It's not the latest one, but it's one that Nat sells, so you could have a look on there. If not, she might be able to get it for you. But yeah, it's from the Funky Fossil Dello Designs. Mixed Media Vibes is what it's called. So I'll just leave that there while I'm drying off. Oh, hi, Naomi. Yes, Naomi, yeah, I know 3 o'clock's not a good time for mums with kids and that having to pick up kids, etc. So, but of course, you know, you can watch it tonight or any other time. So, yeah, talk to you soon. So here we go. Just not sure if you can sort of see. I need an extra light. For some reason, it just seems to be a bit dark there. But anyway. Yes, so you can sort of see here, sorry, I've been very seasickness there, very light. It's not perfect by any means, and that's the look I'm going for. So, you know, I mean, if you want your person that likes it all very neat, obviously you would do it neat yourself, but I like the grunginess, I suppose, for want of a better word. Okay, so I've got that done there. Now, because it's annoying me, I shall just trim off some of these bits. Off there. You can always tidy them up again later, but just want to get most of those bits off so that it's half decent. A little bit up the top here, and then we're finished that part. Okay, that'll do for now. I can tidy it up better later on. Okay. Chop off. Right. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, now see that's actually the print there, and yet it looks quite good because it's linking these two pieces, these two bits of texture paste is being linked by the actual print that's on the paper. I don't know if you can actually see that there or not. So, you know, that it's all relative, that it does make everything look good. Now, for paints, I've kind of, I haven't put any real contrasty paints out, but we'll see how we go. But I've opted to go for Dina Wakley, and some of these colours, I'll bring that book back so you can sort of see, where was that? Nope. There. So these are the kinds of colours that I've gone for. So we've got blushing, fuchsia, rouge. I've also got out a bit of magenta, and I've got this eggplant. So that's quite a purpley colour. So, you know, I can see a little bit of purple in there. So I'm kind of probably going to use that for splatters or just tiny little bits of extra paint. But I'm not going to diverge too much away from this. Now I might do a couple of bit of my English is terrible. Some, I noticed on here they've got a little bit of green in there. You know, that's the kind of thing where I might just bring in, you know, if I decide to bring in the green, to do a few splatters. Now, I have an image here that I'm thinking of that I'll use that I got from the internet. So there's, you know, there's greenery on here. So the green as spatters would probably do quite nicely on this. And so, you know, so I can try and utilise that. So that's my thinking. Let's see what that does. Now, let me go bring my... My desk is never big enough. Bring in my, what I'll do is stick it on there and work on this page. Alright, so I'll just start by shape them. Just going to put little bits out. See how we go with this one. It's getting to the end. I do have another one here. Come on. Oops, out you come. I'll put a bit of white out as well so that I can, oops, tint them a little bit. I'll put a bit of fuchsia out. Have I got the rouge? Oh yes, got the rouge out. Put a little bit of that out. So there's a bit of purpley sort of colours in this. So what I'm going to do is I'll start off with the lightest colour, which I'll use these two. That's the blushing and that's the rouge, and I'll use those first because they're kind of in the same family. I'll just use little bits of the fuchsia, and then what was that? That's the fuchsia. This is magenta. All right, so I'll use these ones. I am just going to use my finger. I like to just use my finger. If you don't like that, you can use the dry brush method that Nat uses a lot. That's also, you know, obviously you can use that. So can you see here, I'm just blending it in. I just feel that I have a little bit more control over what I'm doing here. If you feel you're not getting the extra surface that you want with your paint when it's going on, I've just dabbed my finger into the water so that'll just water it down a bit so that I can move the paint around a little bit more, okay? So I've just, again, stuck my finger in there, and that, of course, will lighten it, so it'll look more like a watercolour. Just concentrating on these two colours at the moment. And now I'll just wipe my finger off. Have a baby wipe handy so that you can clean your fingers off in between. Grab a little bit of the, was it carnation? Magenta, sorry, magenta. So you can see I've got a little bit of magenta-y sort of colour here, so I'm going to just expand out from that. I just want a hint of colour. I'm making sure that I rub back into the previous colours that I use. And you shouldn't have any issues with these because they're all from the same family. Now I'm going into that section there. I'll just lift that up a bit. The light's shining on there. So that means I've got the pink, but you can see here it's quite deep. So I'm going to bring out, it's probably a bit red that one, but that's okay. And then I'll just smash it back into there. We're just adding colour. Now, if, you know, because these reddy colours can be a little bit in your face sort of thing, a bit overpowering, you can sort of tone it back with a little bit of white. What I'll do is I'll put some white onto my... Hi, Shari. You're multitasking. Good girl. That's what good women do. So, for instance, if I feel like this is all getting a bit too powerful over here, I'll just start rubbing in some extra, rubbing it off. Have a baby wipe handy so that you can wipe off if it's becoming too intense for you as well. While it's still wet, of course. Once it's dry, you can't wipe it off. So this is where you can control the amount or the intensity of the colour that you put on your page, because sometimes these pinks and reds can be a little bit sort of in your face a bit. Grab a bit of white. Might get some more of that, these corally colours on here. Might put a bit more coral over here. Feel it's a bit too pinky there. Sometimes it can be a bit hard to see. Now I feel like when I look in the camera, in the on the computer, I can see like a squarey blotch of colour there, and same with here. So I feel this needs a bit more blending in here. So I'm going to, I've just stuck my finger in the water. I'm going to grab some of that peachy colour. And I'm just going to rub that in a bit, just to push those colours back. To me, this is the best way to paint. Not everyone likes painting like this, but I do. Feel like I'm a part of the painting then. So I do have the purpley, more purple colour. I'm going to be using that as splatters or some highlights or something later. I am going to use the fuchsia. Yeah, no, I've got the fuchsia. That's good. But I was missing a colour then, but that's okay. I'm not. Go over here. I'm going to come back with a little bit more intensity there. Then I can push it back later. Now, of course, in all of this, I haven't left much white space, but so there you go. I'm going to bring back the white a bit there by just rubbing it in. pushing it back. I'll bring this up to the camera so you can have a look, because some of it has been taken right back. And I just want you to have a look. Can you sort of see if I got it there? See there? I've almost taken it back to the background there. So I'm going to remember to do that. Even when it is dry, if it's just dry, I'll take that out now. It's driving me crazy. Even if it's dry-ish, you can still rub back a bit, okay? But you've got to be careful because you don't want to rip your paper. But you can, for a certain amount of time, rub it back a bit. And I'm loving this because I like this grungy sort of look. Good. And take that back a bit too. Alright, start off down here, put a little bit more on there. I try to leave white space. I mean, I just find it hard sometimes to do that. So then I'll add the white space in later. I'm actually going to grab a little bit, you can't see it here, but I'm going to grab some of this eggplant. I'm just going to put it there a bit. The eggplant is quite intense, but there is a bit of purpley colour there, so I think if I do that, I can incorporate that a little bit. And I know it looks like a grungy mess here, but that's okay. That's what I'm after. I don't like sort of the perfecto marks. Sometimes I do. And after a while, you do have to throw that away and get a new one. Because all you start doing then, rather than take it off, you're just blending it in, okay? But as soon as you get a new baby white, it starts taking it off. And you can see by how much paint's on the baby white. Keep turning it around so you get some good. So I'm actually wiping pink paint onto that. Let's go over here, a bit of orangey sort of colour. White. Let that dry for a little bit. I'll show you something else in a moment too. When I've overdone things and I haven't got enough white space, I tend to do what some people call kissing the page with some white paint. Be prepared to go through a few baby whites. Now, if you feel you've got too much on the actual paper, you can always rub, but do it softly. Don't rub too hard because you're going to end up taking the print off. It is only 160, so we don't want to overdo it. So, because I'm not liking this part here, but that's okay. I'll show you the kissing part in a moment. Because I want to dry this off first before I do it. So I'll just bring that up. I feel like we need a little bit of darkness there. It's better. Right. Alright, so I'll just leave that, I'll show you that for the moment. Now, I haven't quite finished with it. I'm going to continue on, but first of all, I want to just dry it off a little bit. So excuse me for a moment. Beautiful. So I'm going to just grab a bit of gesso and my catalyst tool, put a bit of gesso on my palette. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, so I've got a bit of gesso on the palette. Okay, and what I've done is I've just tapped the side of my catalyst tool. I prefer this one. There is this one too. This is a good one as well. This is probably a better one for doing this, but as long as you need a kind of flat surface. This one here that I have is not necessarily good. I don't get anywhere near as good a result from that. You need a bit of surface. They're much the same, these two, only that one's got the edge cut off. Just tap a little bit, and so here I'm just not happy with what it looks like there. It's just sort of seems to be missing something to me. So see what I'm doing here? I'm dragging the brush. Now that it means I'm bringing some more of that white space back into the page. And so I'll just go around the page doing that. And then of course it reacts with the modelling paste that I've done there. If you feel like you've got a big blob, just wipe it off because you don't want that. Tapping just ever so, just helps to bring that bit of white space back into your overall page. Okay, a little bit down there. Now I'm kind of happy with this. I don't feel it looks quite as ugly as it did before. And know when to stop. Okay. Show that up to you again. Just want to lift up my light a bit. Got a bit of a reflection. So it's just sort of toned that down a bit. So I just sort of felt that was a very plain, actually what I don't like is when I'm looking at it, I can see this piece of paper and then there's this piece of paper and there's a gap in between. So this is what I want to do is, I think that's what I'm not liking too much about it. I just want to put probably too much. It's okay. All right, so that is that. Happy with that, so I'll just dry that off a bit. So is anyone else like me who really struggles with keeping white space? Sometimes I have to be really, really, really conscious of it. When I have done some lovely pages with lots of white space, but I have to really concentrate on making sure that I leave the white space there. So I'm actually kind of really quite happy with that. I've got the peachy sort of tones as a juxtaposed against the more burgundy sort of tones as well. Now, I am going to do a little bit more stamping on this, stamping and stamping and, what is it, splatters on this one. So, yep, I'll just have a quick drink and then we'll start again. Oh, hello. Hi, Susan. Oh, you're in Darwin. Lucky you. What's the weather like up there, darling? Susan enjoying a lovely, lovely holiday up in Darwin. So well done, darling. Right, so I am going to grab the stencil. Whoops. What have I done with this? Not the stencil, the stamp. I'll grab it off because I don't want it. I want to use it randomly. Whoop. Sorry, guys, just dropped everything. Okay, now for this, I had a look in my stash and I found this stamp pad. It's a plum stamp pad. It's archival ink, so it's permanent. But I have had it for a few years, and so it's not that juicy. But it's actually kind of perfect for what I want to do here because it's not that juicy. And so I think I did something here before. So it's kind of a plummy colour. So you can see that's the kind of effect that it has on here. So I think